What it do, YouTube? It's the Noble Berean, and here I am in my early 2000s sedan making yet another video. And y'all see the thumbnail. But before I go into that thumbnail, I just want to say, sadly, in this day and age, it is basically vitally important for believers in Christ to keep receipts. We gotta keep receipts these days, especially if you are an individual that that um that confront like false doctrine, false teachers, and just falsehood altogether. If you're one of those type of believers where you're very bold in your stance on things and you're not afraid to call someone out, you got to keep receipts. And sadly, it's not just for, you got to keep receipts on unbelievers. You got to keep receipts on believers these days also. Otherwise, a narrative can be created and your image and character will be attacked. So Saiko Woods last night, you know, he defended himself with evidence against a lot of false accusations, and some of those accusations, um, especially dealing with an a R person, a person that got R'd. There was an accusation that he bullied a R person, which is wild. That and it was done by another believer. And if Saiko didn't have the evidence of what actually happened, it could end up costing him his life. That's a very serious accusation. you know Nobody nowhere cares about you know those type of people that do those type of things. And he pretty much exposed and put out the evidence. Sadly, a lot of people had to relive that certain situation that happened a few years ago, that incident. But in order to clear his name, he put that out there. And the individual that that was spreading those false accusations is claiming that Seiko is doing the same thing to him. Like he made claims that Seiko had bared false witness and said a whole bunch of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Which is amazing to me. And I just want to point you guys to a proverb. Proverbs 18:17. It states, "The one who states his case first seems right until the other comes and examine him." The one who states his case first seems right until the other comes and examine him. No sane individual, right? We're not even just talking about believers in Christ. No sane individual I'm gonna say should jump on board with anybody making accusations about someone without getting all sides of the story. You know what I mean? Regardless if you like an individual or not. Now I'm gonna speak to specifically to believers in Christ. We don't reserve the right to take a stance against anyone until evidence of two or three witnesses are brought forth. And that's I believe that's First Timothy 5, although it's in the context of confronting an older man. That principle is true across the board. Until you have all of the evidence, we as believers in Christ do not have the luxury of taking a side. You know what I'm saying? We don't have the luxury. We are to always be on the side that is innocent, regardless of how we feel about the individual. Regardless of how we feel about the individual. You know what I'm saying? That's the Christian thing to do. That's called loving God and loving people. The two greatest commandments. You cannot say you love God and you don't love people. You can't even get out of loving, because the Bible tells us to love our neighbors, love our enemies. You can't get around it. So regardless of how you feel about an individual, we must, as believers in Christ, wait till we get the full story, and then we make a judgment. With that being said, speaking about those that are at odds with Saiko Woods, I'm not here to try to make you change your mind about him or anything like that. That is not my job. That is not what I'm trying to do. That is not what this video is about. This video is to try to get those that are at odds with Saiko Woods. Understand something, that if you claim to be a believer in Christ, you must be careful with whom you side with, just because you guys have a common enemy. Just because you have, and I'm not going to say enemy. Let me not say enemy. You have a common op. You have a common opposition. We do not reserve the right as believers in Christ to just hurry up and jump on the side. This person beef with Saiko, so now I'm a ride with him and I'm a beef with Saiko. Because look, the reality is you guys' reason for not rocking with Saiko may be different than another individual for not rocking with Saiko. Because I could tell you this, the individual that Saiko exposed, the first individual that Saiko exposed, the guy cares about a platform. So whomever will give him a platform that has a big platform, he will draw himself to you some way, somehow. If you notice the things that he says in all of his videos, God raised me up. God raised me up until God raised me up. My number's this. I'm on this platform. I'm on that person platform. I know this person and I know this person and I know all these people. A bunch of name dropping, a bunch of puffing himself up over and over and over again. And the only reason why I'm even speaking on this is because I know the dude. I know the dude. Saiko Woods tried to help him. And a couple of other brothers tried to help him. I even tried to help him. You know? So all I'm saying is, I'm not trying to convince y'all to do anything. I'm not trying to convince y'all to ride with Saiko. All I'm saying is be careful in whom you guys team up with and whom you guys side with, just because they now all of a sudden don't like Saiko, because their intentions may be different. Their issue with Saiko may be different. Their issue with Saiko may not even be legitimate, but because he's beefing with Saiko, he or she may be beefing with Saiko, you should examine that individual before you start endorsing them. That would be the wise thing to do. But what do I know? I'm just a guy making a video in a early 2000 sedan. Well, the comments I saw. I'm doing this for views. Like, who on YouTube is not doing this for views? Like, come on, man. Who on social media is not doing this for likes, comments, shares, and views? Who isn't? Otherwise, why do it? Why? Because we could disguise it as a ministry. Come on, man. You're doing it for views. You're doing it for followers. You're doing it for subscribers. You're doing it for shares. Miss me with the bull crap. And another thing, understand something. That you guys' beef with Saiko is you guys' beef with Saiko. You better be careful when those that are friends with Saiko, those that call Saiko brother. I personally call him big brother. I call big sister Sharon big sister. Be careful with those that are on Saiko's, that are Saiko's friends. Be careful with bringing up and how you treat them too. Because I seen a whole bunch of disrespectful comments, and I don't know you guys. You know, guys don't know me. I was called a convict and all other kind of stuff. And yes, I've been to prison. And no, I'm not doing my video outside my parole office. I've been off parole for 12 years. Yeah. But anyway, not trying to make this about me. Just want to share this with you guys, man. Hey, use a little wisdom before you team up with an individual. Just because y'all have a common something in common, that doesn't mean that it will be wise to team up with that individual. Just remember Proverbs 18:17. Grace and peace.